guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Chido. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the Chido family. And for all my returning subscribers, hey, what's good? What's popping? I know you've missed me, but I'm here now. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and switch on your notification button for all new and fun stuff that we're gonna do. But yeah, let's get into the video of today. Honestly, first let me give you guys some background information on this. I think on Thursday it was, Thursday. So Thursday was the 3-month anniversary of my dad's passing. And before you even say it, I already know there's some people that are going to be saying it's not healthy for you guys to commemorate every single month your father passes away. It's not healthy for you to remember it every single 2 minutes. Shh. Nobody asked. Okay? So anyway, so during that time I had a really bad day. I just wasn't really feeling a lot of things, and it was very subconscious for me, not necessarily that like I had planned it or I was thinking about it or whatever. It's just something that just happened. And then I realized that, you know what, I think I need to be extremely more intentional in how I remember and think of my dad, if that makes sense, because I don't like being sad a lot. I don't like feeling mopey and whatnot. Like, I like laughing, I like smiling. So I decided, why not let you guys in on a few gems and like little hints of wisdom that my father passed down to me and my sisters. Not all of them, because some of them are for me, myself, and my children and my family and stuff, but I'll give you guys the most important ones that I think that every single person should know in life, but some people are not taught, but some stuff that, like, you know, it'll be helpful. So yeah, this video is on things my father taught me, or lessons that I learned from my dad throughout. Okay, lesson number 1 that Chido's father taught her in life: if anything is worth doing, you should do it well. Okay guys, I think that one is so self-explanatory. If anything is worth doing, you should do it well. If you're going to run like your life depended on it. If you're going to work out like this is the last day or the last 30 minutes or the last hour you have in the gym. If you're going to go to work as if your boss told you that if you do this work properly, you're going to get a promotion or a bonus or a raise. If you're going to do anything in life, do it like, there's actually a Bible verse that says work as if you're working unto the Lord. Like, that actually goes hand in hand with what my dad always used to say when he says, if anything is worth doing, do it well. Because if you worked as if you're working unto the Lord, you're going to do it to the best of your abilities. And like, it's like one of those things that you're never gonna be able to do again. Like, it's the end for you, right? That's rule number 1. Lesson number 2, you always have a choice. I think that it's very important for us to remember that in this 2021 and this day and age where everybody's trying to take shortcuts, everybody's trying to do this thing where there's corruption and lie and steal and cheat their way through life, you need to remember that there's always a choice. You can either join the madding crowd and the people that want to dabble in corruption and lie and steal and cheat from others, or you can remain a person full of integrity and goodness and kindness, and who wants to learn and wants to do things the right way with patience and is not always driven by money. Do you know, that's one of the things that I think my dad also taught us, not to be a person who does things because of the money you're gonna get out of it. You shouldn't be a person who works because you're driven by money. I remember Funga was telling me, posted one video this one time where Diddy was being interviewed, and he's like, I might not be saying it correctly, but he said, because this also goes hand in hand with what my dad always used to say about you should work with, like, when you're working, it should be something that you're passionate about, not because you think it's going to make you the highest amount of money. And that's what Diddy said. He's like, in life, if you see some of the people that are the most richest and that are billionaires and whatnot, they didn't get there because they chose the right industry or whatever. It's because they're very passionate about their job. Those people are people who, if you asked them if they'd still be doing what they were doing, even if it didn't make them that much money, they would probably still be doing it, because they're not driven by money. The money then becomes a benefit of their hard work and their passion and their resilience, but the actual main factor is the fact that they're doing it because they love it. And honestly, sometimes when you do that, right, it's easier for you to remain on the straight path and not to choose to do bad things or to be corrupt, because you're doing it out of a place of goodness. So yeah, I think I just literally mixed three things. My dad was a very, very wise man. He always also used to say, but this was a joke and it's so sad because now, you know, he's gone, but he always used to be like, it's better to be late than to be the late. I wish he was just late, you know, to come somewhere, I don't know. But anyway, what he meant when he was saying that was, there's no need to rush through life, guys. Like, you know, when you listen to the statement, it's better to be late than to be the late, like, you think of it like in terms of driving. There's like, what's the point of speeding somewhere to get to somewhere because you think you're late, and then you end up in a car accident and then you all die? And it's the same with life. What's the point of trying to take shortcuts or trying to be corrupt because you think it's going to be the shortest path to where you're going, but then at the end of the day it lands you in jail or dead or causes a lot more disaster than you would have encountered if you had just done things the right way? And I think it almost goes hand in hand with when people say delay isn't always denial. Like, it's not okay. For those of you who are still in uni and you haven't graduated, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. You can carry on and continue and finish. God's timing is not humanity's timing. And if other people are making you feel bad for not having finished your degree, ignore the noise. Forget about them. For other people who are unemployed and still looking for jobs, delay is not denial. God's timing, again, is not other people's timing. It could take you 3 years to find a good job, and then the one day you find that good job, you're getting paid 5 times more than all these other people who have been working for a very long time. Or God will elevate you so much faster than everybody else. It will shock people. So, you know, it's not, life is not a race, you guys. It's not like you don't have to speed. It's not papas all the time. And we all need to remember that sometimes our lives are not the same. We all have different races to run. So obviously, like, there's no need to rush things because of your timing or other people's timing or what you think should be happening when you're a certain age or whatever, because that's not life. And you know, my dad always, in relation to that, he always used to say, you know, when you try rush through life and rush through things, you end up missing a lot of lessons that the process is supposed to teach you. Because sometimes we can tell each other things, we can try convince each other of things, but there's only some lessons in life you can only learn by actually being within the process. Like, I can tell you as someone who's experienced it, right, where when you're sick, right, you learn a lot of lessons through it. But it's one thing for someone else to tell you, this is how it happens or whatnot, this is what it's supposed to be. And it's a whole nother ball game when you experience it for yourself. So you actually learn that, you know what, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or when you've struggled to get to some point or to graduate or to get a job, the process between you actually looking and getting there, you learn to appreciate a lot of other things, and it leaves you in a place of higher maturity by the time you get there. And those are and you might make good good choices. Sometimes you make bad choices, but you always like learn from your mistakes and you grow better that way, as opposed to someone who's always spoon-fed things. And this leads me to another thing my dad always used to say. He always used to shun connections. Like, my dad, you know, in his career, he was like really at the top of his game. He was a CEO of a big corporation in this country. He used to sit at tables with, you know, your ministers and presidents and stuff. But that man, you would think that with those kind of connections right in my living room, I would be, you know, the world is my oyster. But it wasn't, because my dad would be like, if you're looking for a job, my dad is the type of person who, even if he was sitting every single day in a meeting with someone who, say, let me think of someone who owns, I don't know, if I wanted to do let's give or take accounting, right? If my dad was the person who had the Deloitte or PwC partners on speed dial, he would never ever call them and be like, hey, hi, I have a daughter who's looking for a job. He would never. He'd be like, excuse me, ma'am, you have a CV, go and drop it off at the offices, or go and apply for a job when they say they have one, and then let the HR decide if they think you're good enough, because I'm not going to be involved in this process. And in the beginning, when I was still young, I never used to understand or appreciate why he used to say that, because it's like, to me, it felt like, dude, you didn't make it to the top only for me to start from the bottom. Why don't you give me a hand so that, I skip all of these processes? But I understand why he always used to insist on us going through them, because it teaches you a lot about life. It teaches you a lot of life lessons that otherwise, if you are connected and given all these things just because of your parents, you never learn them. It's I always use this example with fungi, where it's like, you can tell the difference between someone who's worked hard for their money and someone who's been given their money. The person who works hard for their money, 9 out of 10, that person thinks 5 times before they spend it. They're not stingy, but they're very stringent with their money. They don't just BMF it all the time. Whereas someone who has been given money, or someone who stole it and it came quickly or whatever, those people can be very reckless with their money. This is why, statistically speaking, they always say people who win the lotto, they finish that money in a very short amount of time, because you didn't work for it. So it's easier to spend money you never worked for, because you don't associate that money with your long hours or your blood, sweat and tears. So I understand why he always used to insist on not using connections or whatever to get anywhere in life, really. Because also, truthfully, there's no integrity that's associated with that. You don't want to be that child who, if you're a manager or you're an accountant or whatever, or a partner at a law firm, or a CFO or what, where people are like, well, anyway, she's only there because this is her father's best friend or her mother's cousin or something, or I don't know, whatever. You want to be that person who people respect and appreciate, that you got to where you are because of what you can do, not because of who you are. I think another lesson that my dad also taught me that's very closely linked to that one is then, when you become that person, you can obviously then build a legacy that's worth living. When you're a person who is full of integrity and goodness and kindness and does all these amazing things, people can see for themselves your goodness. You don't have to tell them. Have you ever met those people who tell you, Kuti, I'm the best IT guru, I'm the best top lawyer in this country, nobody does audit like me, nobody knows this like me, or whatever. People that brag for themselves. Let your work brag for itself. Don't be that person who puts themselves on a pedestal. Let other people put you on that pedestal. And the only way you can do that is by building a legacy that outlives your life. And our generation, I think, sometimes lacks in doing that, because, again, like I said, we rely too much on connections. You rely too much on, shortcuts. People have become professional academics, where they think that because now you have a master's or a PhD, working internship level jobs is beyond you or beneath you and stuff like that. And, when you are people who believe stuff like that, it's very, very difficult for you to build long-lasting legacies. Because but on a much lighter note, my dad always used to be like to us when we were growing up, when we were in high school, he'd be like,
girls, cleanliness is next to godliness.
And he'd be saying this because he just wanted us to clean our bedrooms. But when you look back at it in hindsight, he was right. There's no point in me going outside, getting into my car, driving out and going for lunch with people or meeting up with people, and I'm dressed so nice, dressed to the tens, hair done, makeup done, nails done, and everything did. But when you come into my room, chaos. Guys, we need to get our lives in order before we go outside there and start looking like we are put together. There's no point in being put together to the outside world, but on the inside, in your own life and just, your own relationships and stuff, it's chaotic and it's messy. Learn to be someone who works on themselves more and is more driven by who you are, what your friends and family see you as, and who God sees you as, and whether you're doing the right thing and you're being a person who remains clean in their heart, spirit, and body, and takes care of themselves like in real life instead of appearing to do so. Because there's no glory in looking like you're doing something right when in actual fact you're failing, because 9 out of 10 people can honestly see right through it. My dad always used to say you should do things because you're disciplined, not because it's fun. And when I say that, I mean, people, I'll give you the perfect example of this one is healthy eating and working out. And our generation, always there's always going to be an excuse. Oh no, I sleep too late. Oh no, I wake up too early. But my dad always used to sleep in the middle of the night. He'd sleep at like 12. He'd come back home, eat his dinner, and then read a book before he slept, and he'd be in bed by like latest 2 o'clock, right? And then he'd be up again at 4 in the morning, does his daily devotion in the morning, reads a book, and then works out, and then goes to work. And this is a person who is a high level employee, so he has a lot of things to do. And I know one of my mentors does the same thing. She wakes up early at 3 o'clock in the morning, does her daily devotion, praise and worship, and then works out, and then goes to work. And I sit and I think about like the way both of them have like structured their lives, and it's like, if people in high ranking positions have time to do that, really what is our excuse? Like, guys, discipline isn't something that you wake up one day and you have once you're like in high management positions. It's something that you nurture over time, and it's not fun. Discipline is it's not something that is enjoyable. Like, it's something that you do it because it has to be done, period, right? So when it comes to working out and looking after your body, you don't do it because, oh, I enjoy going to the gym. Some people might enjoy going to the gym and good for you and stuff, right? But it's something that we all have to do because we need to look after our bodies. You're never too old to learn or to grow or to reshape your life. And in life, sometimes don't be that person who walks into a room and the only stuff they can talk to people about is what they studied and what is in their career field. Be a person who is intrigued. Like, learn, curiosity, always want to learn and better yourself and grow. It's not a bad thing to always reshape and change yourself. As humans, we are ever evolving, and you don't want to be someone who's left behind because you didn't want to learn other things. And